Hey, so welcome everyone to your evening meditation. This is meditation based on Course in Miracles Workbook Lesson 289. And then we're going to have a short discussion session after that. So just making yourself comfortable, going somewhere you're not going to be disturbed for the next 20 minutes or so, putting your phone on mute or silent. If you're sitting on a chair, sit comfortably, feet shoulder width apart, cup your hands in your lap. Your back straight, close your eyes, and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So notice how the stomach rises. Push the belly out, then the chest rises. Second phase of the breath into the heart center. Feel a nice warm tingling feeling rising up. The lower stomach and spine into your heart. To the upper chest, into the head. Feel a nice warm tingling feeling running up the spine, coming to rest in the crown of your head. And just pause there and do a little mental, emotional check-ins. So noticing any thoughts and emotions that are obviously distracting or disturbing. So it could be thoughts about the past, thoughts about the future, anything that's just kind of sitting there, it's not sitting well with you. Notice how that feels emotionally. Notice any physical sensations, maybe a kind of a tightness in your neck, shoulders, block in your chest, a knot in your stomach, dry mouth, sweaty palms at the extreme panic attacks. So whatever it is, just notice and now choose to let it go. Just blow it all out with the breath. By applying today's idea, so the past is over, it can touch me not. And usually all these things that distress us have some element of the past in them. It must be a past situation, or you're just perceiving them through your past filters, your judgments based on your past experiences. So blow it all out with the breath. Just letting it all go, exhaling it all out. The black smoke out of your mouth. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just find some stillness at the bottom of the exhale. Noticing what it's like to be completely in the present moment, rather than in the past or the future, which are illusory. So breathing in, notice how the stomach rises, the chest rises. There's the subtle flow of life energy rising up from the lower stomach and spine into your middle chest, your upper chest, your head. Notice the subtle flow of air into the nostrils. Just pause at the top of the inhale. Just exhale. Just sighing it all out, exhaling it all out. Notice the vibration in your throat, the chest and the stomach suck back in. As air flows out of the nostrils. And you find the stillness at the bottom of the exhale. Just notice the stillness that arises in the present moment. You'll notice that especially if you start paying attention to the gaps between breaths, between the words. And then move smoothly into your next inhale. And breathe into the lower stomach. Stomach pushes out, air flows into the nostrils. Life energy rises up. Pause. Find the stillness. Smile. For no other reason than that you're present now. You're aware now. Alive now. And then exhale, the process reverses, chest and stomach suck back in, air flows out of your nostrils. Stomach, just let the energy come to rest in your stomach. Pause again and then just repeat the cycle. So step back and watch your breath. It's nice, deep, slow, rhythmical pattern. And you just step back and watch it. So there's no conscious stressing, straining, or striving involved. It's completely the opposite of the ego's program. And notice how that brings you into the present moment, just by focusing all your attention on the breath. Past disappears. Thoughts about the past just disappear. So keep watching your breath and just allow these words to sink into your awareness. Sinking into a deeper part of your mind, subconscious, which is where these ideas need to go. So I'll read you a little passage on what is the Holy Spirit first. And we'll move into the lesson for today. Keep watching your breath and keeping your mind nice and still, calm, empty, open, but aware as you let these words just permeate in to a deeper part of your awareness, subconscious mind. So what is the Holy Spirit is the question. And in answer to that question, Jesus says, the Holy Spirit mediates between illusions and the truth. Since he must bridge the gap between reality and dreams, perception leads to knowledge through the grace that God has given him, that love has given him, to be his gift to everyone who turns to him for truth. Across the bridge that he provides are dreams, all carried to the truth, to be dispelled before the light of knowledge. There are sights and sounds forever laid aside. And where they were perceived before, forgiveness has made possible perception's tranquil end. The goal the Holy Spirit's teaching sets is just this end of dreams. Sights and sounds must be translated from the witnesses of fear to those of love. And when this is entirely accomplished, learning has achieved the only goal it has in truth. For learning, as the Holy Spirit guides it, to the outcome he perceives for it, becomes the means to go beyond itself, to be replaced by the eternal truth. If you but knew how much your Father yearns to have you recognize your sinlessness, you would not let his voice appeal in vain, or turn away from his replacement for the fearful images and dreams you made. The Holy Spirit understands the means you made by which you would attain what is forever unattainable. And if you offer them to him, he will employ the means you made for exile to restore your mind to where it truly is at home. Just pause, reconnect with your breath, finding the stillness, especially in between breaths. Just connect with that. Keeping your mind nice and clear and calm and empty and open, but aware. So from knowledge, where he's been placed by God, or love itself, the Holy Spirit calls to you to let forgiveness rest upon your dreams and be restored to sanity and peace of mind. Without forgiveness, will your dreams remain to terrify you, and the memory of all your Father's love will not return to signify the end of dreams has come. So accept your Father's gift, your source's gift. It is a call from love to love, that it be but itself. The Holy Spirit is his gift, by which the quietness of heaven is restored to God's beloved Son. Would you refuse to take the function of completing God, completing love itself, when all he wills, when all love wills, is that you be complete? And just pause and reflect on that. Would you refuse to be the love that you are, to complete God himself? This is the choice. And all too often we do refuse because we prefer the ego's ideas and emotions like fear and anger and judgment. So let's move on to lesson 289. Take a nice deep breath in. Through the nose again, feel like you filling up the lower stomach. The air, and second phase of the breath into the heart center, to the upper chest, into the head. Pause. Top of the inhale. And just remind yourself of today's idea. The past is over. It can touch me not. And you notice any past thoughts, just scan your mind. Thoughts about anything or anyone, any past incident, especially if there's a grievance attached to it, feeling like that wasn't a very nice thing and you're holding on to the emotion of anger or resentment. Say the past is over. It can touch me not. As you exhale, full deep exhale out your mouth and just blow it all out. Just releasing it with the breath. From the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And rest for a few moments in the peace, the stillness that come in the gap between breaths. And now breathing in again, in the same rhythmical diaphragmatic breathing patterns. So stomach rises, so you breathe in through your nose. Chest rises, heart center rises. Notice the subtle flow of air into your nostrils, the life energy up the back of your spine. Pause. And then you exhale. Let's flow out of your nostrils, down into your chest and your stomach. You come to rest again. So just set that breath in motion, step back and watch it as you listen to these few sentences. Short commentary on today's lesson. Past is over, it can touch me not. So unless the past is over in my mind, the real world must escape my sight. So just repeat these sentences to yourself as I say them, because it's really an affirmation for your own mind. Unless the past is over in my mind, the real world must escape my sight. For I am really looking nowhere, seeing but what is not there. How can I then perceive the world forgiveness offers? This the past was made to hide. For this the world that can be looked on only now. It has no past. For what can be forgiven but the past? And if it is forgiven, it is gone. Just pause, reflect on that. Breathing in and out through your nose. Keep watching your breath. Staying very still, calm, present, open, empty, but aware. And now I'm going to say a little prayer. Address your source, your higher self. And just conclude with a minute's silence. So, Father, source, let me not look upon a past that is not there. For you have offered me your own replacement in the present world. The past is left untouched and free of sin. Here is the end of guilt. And here am I made ready for your final step. So I demand that you wait longer for your son, your extension, to find the loveliness you plan to be the end of all his dreams and all his pain. Just pause and reflect on that. When you wait any longer to surrender the message, God will do everything for you. Just need to have that little willingness to let go. Go of the past hurt, past pain. So to practice that, just for a minute of silence, just sink in a little bit deeper into your mind, into your innermost self. There's nowhere to go, there's nothing else to do, there's nothing else to think about. For the next minute of silence, so let the stillness pull you into that silence. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, nothing else to think about. For the next minute, just breathe, relax, be still. Enter completely into the present moment, beyond all past and future. For the next minute of silence. And so just gently, on the count of 3, you're going to bring your awareness back into the body and the world, very gently. So 1, start off by just noticing the breath and all the subtle sensations of the breath. You breathe in, you notice the stomach rise, chest rise, subtle flow of air into your nostrils. This warm tingling feeling rising up from the lower stomach, spine, up the back of your spine into your neck and your crown of your head. Pause, connect with the stillness, extend that gap for a little bit, smile. Just for no other reason than that you're peaceful and happy right now. And you exhale, just get a little sighing sound, the ujjayi sound on the back of your throat. Keep your mouth closed, but you make a fogging sound as though you're fogging sunglasses. Helps to contract chest and the stomach in, which forces more out, more air out. So you're completely empty at the bottom of the exhale. And breathe in again. Just notice all your body senses now. So what are you feeling and touching? Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, a smell in your nose. Just the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground. Notice what you're hearing. Just tuning into all of these things. It's a very peaceful place. Complete present moment awareness. There's no past. Past is over and no past thoughts can affect you. Remind yourself one more time, the past is over. It can touch me not. And 3, open your eyes, look around. Take 30 seconds to glance around and your eyes just rest on whatever they happen to rest on, objects around you. With no judgment, just allow these things to be. There's no need to name them, label them, interpret them, evaluate them, judge them in any way. Notice how peaceful it is when you're in that present moment, in the present moment awareness. And resolve to stay there for the rest of the session and the evening. So we're going to move into a discussion session now. Saying goodbye to those in the WhatsApp group. But, for those who are remaining on Zoom or on YouTube, just try and stay connected to this piece by keeping some attention on your breath as we do this discussion session. So for those in the WhatsApp group, wishing you a nice evening, very peaceful evening, and an inspired week ahead. I hope to connect with you tomorrow during one of the meditations. Namaste. Okay. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just get my sound back. Unmute. Muted. There we go. Unmuted. Okay. So that was just over 20 minutes. Not too bad. So you want to just do a quick check-in. Anything arising? What's showing up for you? Anything pushing your buttons? Any questions about anything?
Nothing really, other than just dealing with stuff the whole time. You know, the stuff comes up, you feel depressed, so you have to look at it, but nothing really.
Okay.
Hazel?
Well, I met my ex-husband this week, and I was very down for a while because he says that every night my other son Skypes him now. He never used to, but now.
So why does that make you feel down?
Because I'm not part of it.
Okay, so you feel like excluded, rejected.
He has been, you see. So now I'm working on myself because it's been a story of my life to feel rejected. So even my son here, I haven't told him I've met his father, but apparently he also joins the Skype. But I know he's keeping quiet so that I don't get hurt. I know that. It's not like my other son. But I just hope one day things will break through, and we'll be close together again. Well, not even close, but at least he won't be ignoring me.
Okay, so can I make a comment? I want to say really, you know, don't focus on changing the outcome. I'm saying, you know, I want to be closer to my son. So it's trying to get an outcome in form, which really it's a special relationship. We know that from the course. If you use it for what it's really for, which is to help you to look at that program, it's a very strong ego program, and everyone's got it, of feeling abandoned and rejected, and how that plays out, and going, okay, I'm really, really willing to look at that. I'm really willing to let it go in my own mind, because that's the only thing you can do. If you can really let it go, all the attachment to it, the investment in the story, the past, right? It's all related to your past, isn't it? The past is over, as today's lesson says, it can touch me not. Then you're doing what you should do in terms of the course's teaching, doing your own forgiveness, and then you let it be. Whatever the outcome is, the outcome is. It's not about changing the outcome.
I'm glad that he's in contact with my ex-husband, because that wasn't right either, but at my expense kind of thing. What I'm getting at is another thing he said. I kept it pleasant on purpose, but I thought perhaps he wants to make his peace. But he said, oh yeah, you know, he brought us up that, do I remember that he took both the boys to psychologists after all divorces, very something that really affects them. And I felt like saying, who the hell was responsible for that? He's bloody drinking. But I just shut up.
Right, okay. So,
look, he's not, by the way, the next wife threatened him too. And he somehow came off it. And I asked my son, that's one of the things I asked is, has he been working? And he said, yes. Well, he's not working at the moment because he was going to come the day after I phoned him about something. Then I said, look, and then he said, okay. Then I said, well, look, no, actually come today if you can. He said, okay. So he's not working at the moment, but I couldn't say that to my son because I don't want him to know just yet anyway that I'm in contact with him, with his father.
Okay, so it's this today's lesson is quite applicable because the past is over. Past is over, it can touch me not. So if you really apply that to this situation, then all of that, you know, drama, mental, emotional drama, if the past is over, then it cannot, it can't affect you. That's what the lesson is really saying.
I don't know, it is.
Look,
even if he stays has been off the booze now, he apparently wasn't ready to do it when he was married to me, but he keeps on wanting to get to know me again. I don't understand him or anything, quite frankly.
Well, it's just it's your past coming back. There's obviously some unresolved stuff there to work through. So if you accept that that's what it is, that's the ego.
But, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that it's my projection of this, what is the word?
Rejection.
It would seem extremely unfair to anyone on the outside that my son has just forsaken me, nothing, and now he's back with the man who caused everything in the first place.
That often happens here. It often happens because children don't know things. They don't know what the parents know. I know many women or men actually, who have children and they go, I'm never going to tell them what their father did or what their mother did. You know, they'll find out eventually. But Many, it's not just you. I've heard many people. Because children don't see things from the parents' point of view. They see it from their point of view.
Yeah.
They
And
can't
also,
know the parents.
Hazel, you've always got to go, okay, so how is this my projection? How am I creating this? Because actually it's happening for you. So
That's why I've been working on myself, and now
so what it's bringing
time,
out in you is the feeling of feeling rejected and abandoned and so on,
yeah.
which is a core program for you. So, and it's a core program for anyone, for most people as well. You know, feeling like rejected, abandoned, the victim, think life is unfair. That's kind of the ego's program. So it's an opportunity to really look at that and go, okay, I've still got to if it's still pushing my buttons, if I'm still getting upset by it, then I've got more forgiveness to do, got more letting go.
Yeah, no, I'll have to keep on, because when I think of how much I did, and initially when my son first did this to me a couple of years ago, but I've got a different outlook on it now, what projection is.
Well, that's good.
I was just forgiving him for thinking wrong of me, but that wasn't my projection, was it? So now I'm working on my projection.
Well done, Hazel.
It's your own self-identity that you're letting go of. That's really what forgiveness does. So you don't forgive another person in the sense of I, separate person, forgive you, separate person, because that's not what's really happening. It's more I'm letting go of my own mental and emotional disturbance, pain, in response to what you've done, because it's triggered my ego, and so all of that suppressed, repressed pains come up, and now I have the opportunity to let it go because I'm aware of it. And so that's all that forgiveness is, really. It's this idea that you let go of your own mental and emotional distress in whatever way that shows up. And
well, I've been
the other person was a catalyst for the forgiveness opportunity. So, you know, they're playing their role, but you're not forgiving them as such, because you're actually forgiving your own negativity away. You're letting go of your own negativity. That's why I prefer the term letting go, because it's more descriptive of what actually you're doing. You're letting go of your own mental and emotional negativity.
I've been doing your meditation on it, and I was listening very carefully. You know, I've put a different connotation on it now to what I had before. That it's my projection, you know. So I'm hoping if I keep on with it, that it will bear fruit.
Well, don't have an outcome. Don't have an outcome here.
Yeah.
Well, it is my birthday on Thursday, and I'm afraid
the ego will pounce on you. The ego will pounce on you. Don't have an outcome. Just do it.
Yeah.
And what comes
happen on my birthday?
Sorry?
I'm just wondering what's going to happen if he's going to contact me on my birthday.
Don't have that in your head.
Now you're going. Let's read this lesson again, because it's actually really applicable to this whole situation, as they all are, but maybe this one's particularly meant for you. So I'm going to share my screen. So let's hope it doesn't knock me out of Zoom. We'll try. See what happens.
See, also what you must think about is that your rejection of yourself will play out, if you're not careful, of him not phoning you on your birthday. So you can then say, see, he doesn't love me and he's rejecting me, so that you then can feel justified that you're rejecting yourself. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, so we have to be very careful, because it's showing up all the time, and it's about loving ourselves. We really do need to love ourselves. Yeah,
that's the most difficult part of all.
Yeah, but the more we forgive, the more we love. The more we love ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, forgiveness is just the letting go of the blocks to the awareness of love. And it's a letting go process. And if you can do that, you will naturally feel more love.
Yeah.
towards yourself
I've
and
never
others.
heard you laugh so
Yes,
much
you're right.
ever.
I find that peace, which is actually love, isn't it?
Exactly. It's love for you. It's your love inside of you. It's your love
Yes.
inside of you.
No, you're quite right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
did
I think-
feel that, you know, this
Yeah.
week, not just for about a day, but I did feel it. Yeah.
Well, you know, when you do experience it, recognize it and go, actually, this is what it is. This is what I want. I want to feel this all the time.
Yeah.
That's where forgiveness is pointing you, to be able
Yes,
to
that's true.
experience that all the time, no matter what's happening in the external world, not allow these external circumstances to influence you. So yeah, let's just read. You can see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Just read, each take turns to read one of the paragraphs, and then just say, you know, which sentence in the paragraph was particularly meaningful. And we can have a little discussion, because it's a great little short recap, really, of the entire courses. I mean, every lesson is, in a way, but particularly applicable to this situation you're describing. So.
We just can't
Some
read the
of it
whole
is cut
thing.
off by our pictures.
Yeah,
Can you
it
move
doesn't
it
go.
across?
It's only 2 paragraphs. You can see the whole.
We can't see the end. We can't see the end.
No, there is no end. That's it. This is it.
Oh, to the word no. Okay, just read then, Hazel. I'll see.
Unless the past is over in my mind, the real world must escape my sight, for I am really something what is not there. How can I perceive the world forgiveness?
Okay. You can't, hang on. So you can't see the right side of the screen. So
Yeah,
No.
where our pictures are.
okay, just move it. I think you got to move it on your screen. I've moved mine. Just if you drag the,
What I
down,
drag.
just drag it down.
Oh, drag it across. Oh, okay. Just
From
just
where?
drag it to the left.
Well,
Yeah, drag it to the
if
left.
it's on the right there, just drag it down to the bottom.
Or to the left. Yeah.
I did, but nothing's happened. Unless no, I don't know. If we could just get rid of the pictures. Oh, there
I
you
think
are.
you just have to, yeah, we got it. Okay.
Yeah, now the pictures are, that's great. They're at the bottom.
Thanks,
Okay.
I didn't know you could do that. Okay.
Unless the past is over in my mind, the real world must escape my sight. For I am really looking nowhere, seeing but what is not there. How can I then perceive the world forgiveness offers? This the past was made to hide. For this the world that can be looked on only, what? Only now. It has no past. For what can be forgiven but the past? And if it is forgiven, it is gone.
Okay.
Sure. I think I'd have to read that again. It's not.
Read it again.
It's
Read it again.
never been clear to me on the screen. Unless the past is over in my mind, the real world must escape my sight. For I am really looking nowhere, seeing but what is not there. How can I then perceive the world forgiveness offers? This the past was made to hide. For this the world that can be looked on only now. It has no past. For what can be forgiven but the past? And if it is forgiven, it is gone. Okay.
Okay. So anything particularly meaningful for you there?
Because I'm really looking nowhere, seeing but what is not there.
Yeah.
Which sort of makes you wonder. I mean, these statements are designed to wake you up. It's like, well, so if I'm looking nowhere and I'm seeing what's not there, then why am I getting upset? Clearly makes no sense. The illusion, of course, is that something is happening and it's real. And these figures in your dream are real, and the drama's real, and your past is real.
Yeah.
And the story is real, and you know, all of that. It all goes together. Once you make the past real, then your story must be real, and the pain that you experience must be real, and the identification with the personal self must be real. Just see how it all goes together. I want to have a little bit of it. It's if you have a little bit of the ego, you've got to have the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's saying this, the past was made to hide, for this, the world can be looked on only now. Right? So the past is gone. Because I mean, if you really look at it, if you really, really look, that's what the Course is trying to get you to do. Anyone who's really looked will see that the past is over. The past is nowhere. There is no past. It was an experience you seem to have, but all you've got is a memory of it now. That's it. So it's a thought in your mind now. And then we make that thought real, and we invest it with all kinds of emotions. But actually, it was just a temporary experience, and now you've got a memory of it, and that's all it is. And the more attached you are to those memories, the more the past can hurt you. The more the past is real, the more the past can hurt you. And so saying forgiveness just says this is gone. The past is over. It never really even happened, because I'm really looking nowhere and seeing at what is not there. So if I'm really seeing what's not there, then what happened in the past was also not there. It was all illusory. Does it make sense, Hazel?
Yeah, it's difficult, but yes.
Well, it
can only be an illusion.
It's
Yeah, it can only be
very
a
simple.
illusion.
It's very simple. You know, what I like about the Course's teaching is what he's saying is very clear, very simple. It's just very difficult to accept. The ego doesn't want to accept that its whole dream is an illusion, that nothing here is real, that the past is over, that there's only this perfect present moment and love and peace and joy. It can't accept that, because if it accepts that, then that's the end of it. That's why we've got the resistance. But it doesn't mean it's not true. It just means we've got some work to do to accept the truth.
Yeah.
And when a situation like yours comes up, well, that's more work. Okay, so I'm allowing the past to be real in my mind. I recognize that. I'm allowing it to affect my peace of mind. I recognize that. And I also recognize the call, the need for forgiveness in the situation. To overlook it and say, okay, none of this is really real. None of these characters. And I sometimes just mentally take a pin, and you imagine that people are like just little bubbles, and you can prick the bubble, yeah, like one of these bubbles that you blow. It seems to have existence, but it's really just a very thin film. And you prick the bubble, and it's poof, pop, it goes. And so that's what Jesus is trying to teach us. He's saying, look, all these characters in your dream, yourself included, are like these little bubbles, and we float around and we seemingly have an existence. And yet that bubble can pop at any moment. Right? One day someone's here, the next they die, or the next they're not in your life. It's all very ephemeral. There's nothing permanent about it. And these constellations of the bubbles change all the time, and the bubbles collide with each other, and sometimes they merge and break apart. But they're just bubbles. If you pop them all, it was really no substance to them. Maybe that helps you. I sometimes use that, and I find it helpful.
Okay.
Because the past, your entire past, is really just a reflection on the interaction and the movement of these bubbles in your life. You being the primary bubble among them, and then how this little bubble you call you interacts with all the other bubbles. And
did you say that everyone suffers from rejection?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ego's program is a rejection program. It's
Keep you separate, in other words.
Yeah, it's the very core of. But what you got to understand is that the ego rejected God or love, right? Because the ego cannot exist with perfect oneness. It must reject that. So what it then does is it goes, no, it's not me who's done it, because it can't see that. It goes, someone else has rejected me. Primarily God. So the ego feels abandoned and rejected by God or love. And then that shows up in the world as being rejected and abandoned by other people. And then the ego goes, oh, poor me, I'm the victim of all this cruel rejection and abandonment. when actually the ego is responsible for rejecting love in the first place. And now it's projected that out and sees the rejection as external to itself. But that's just not true, because of the decision that the ego made, which brought it into being, was to reject love. Say, no, I don't want to be perfect oneness. I don't want that. I want my own identity. So I have to reject love in order to have my own identity. And so that's how the idea of rejection came into apparent existence. And now that just keeps spinning around. We keep seeing that we're rejected by someone or something in the world. But that's not what's really happening. You're actually rejecting yourself. So you've got to start seeing through the setup. You know, it's all smoke and mirrors. Actually, the ego has rejected God, and it's now just facing that apparent rejection in a situation in the world. But the fundamental problem was that decision to reject or abandon love.
Yeah.
And the atonement, the at-one-ment, is just the decision to reverse your thinking and say, no, actually, I accept that I'm one. I accept that I'm not separate from oneness. I'm not separate from love, and nothing I've ever thought in that thought system of separation has any meaning at all. It's all just delusional and crazy.
Also, we have sorry, John, you finished?
Yeah.
But
What
we
about
also
the
have a fundamental animal instinct worry about being rejected. I was hearing that somewhere, that in the old days, if we were rejected from the tribe, you basically died.
Yeah.
Because you had to have the tribe to look after you. You know, everybody had food. It was all the.
That's right. I also heard that somewhere.
Yeah, and so it's a very deep-seated program, but the original thought came metaphysically from that decision.
Yeah, no, we know that, but I'm just saying
So
physiologically.
It's always track it back to the origin in your own mind, because that's where you can deal with it. You can't deal with it in the past. You can only deal with it right now, in the decision right now.
Is it something that we carry over from life to life, or is it something that we happens to us in childhood? Like I was reading Louise Hay last night. Her life, it was horrendous as a child. Absolutely horrendous.
Well, if you like, I'll show you this passage on what is reincarnation, because that was yesterday's reading from the text.
We haven't read the second paragraph yet.
We haven't, but we'll go back there, don't worry. So I don't know if you read this yesterday, but this was your reading for yesterday on reincarnation. So your question sort of referred to that, past life, whatever. And as he says, reincarnation would not, under any circumstances, be the problem to be dealt with now. Right? If it were responsible for some of the difficulties the individual faces now, his task would still be only to escape from them now. He's laying the groundwork for a future life. He can still work out his salvation only now. So it cuts through. And there's a lot of past life sort of treatments and regressions, and but the course just says whatever is arising now for you is what you have to deal with. Whether it arose in a past life because of a rejection then, it doesn't matter, because you're feeling that now, and so you've got to deal with it now through forgiveness, which really makes it very simple. Saying salvation is only now, so you don't need to get worried about all these external concerns, which are often just ego distractions. Oh, well, is this a past life or is this childhood? If the past is over, to go back to this, if the past is over, it can touch me not. There's no past. That's what he's saying. There is no past. So your past life doesn't really exist. Your childhood doesn't really exist, because it's all part of this thing we call the past, this illusion, which is really just a mental idea. It's a memory, a mental idea in your mind that, this thing called the past exists and I had these experiences. So the Course always brings you right back to now and says, okay, do your forgiveness now, as whatever's arising now. So it's very simple. You don't need to worry about how it arose, when it arose, past life, childhood. You just need to deal with do the forgiveness now. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Debbie, do you want to read the second paragraph?
Father, let me not look upon a past that is not there, for you have offered me your own replacement in a present world that the past has left untouched and free of sin. Here is the end of guilt, and here am I made ready for your final step. Shall I demand that you wait longer for your son to find the loveliness you planned to be the end of all his dreams and all his pain?
Okay. Anything stand out for you there?
What does he mean by for you have offered me your own replacement? What is that?
So you obviously it's addressing your source, God, Father.
Oh, okay, okay.
You have offered, so the you is capitalized, your own replacement in a present world the past is left untouched and free of sin. So your own replacement for the past is the present moment. In the present,
Oh, I thought so. Okay.
no, in a present world, the past is left untouched
Okay.
and free of sin. So basically, you
And
enter into
yeah.
in the present moment. There is no past, there's no
Yeah.
sin, there's no
Yeah.
guilt,
Got it.
and all of that dissolves. And that's the gift of
Okay.
this presence of, you know, what he calls Father, Source, Spirit, Oneness, whatever you want to, God, whatever you want to call the, you know, this ultimate presence that
Thank
lies
you.
beyond any idea of the past.
And shall I demand that you wait longer for your son to find loveliness you planned? What does he mean by that?
Shall I demand? So, well, the ego will demand that, you know, it obviously doesn't want to go back to oneness, doesn't want to acknowledge that it's the Son of God, you're the Son of God. So the demand is the ego's demand to wait, which of course is a time concept, to wait in time, and not find the loveliness that God planned to be the end of all your dreams and all your pain. The ego would rather say, no, I don't want the dream to end. I don't want my pain to end.
Okay.
I'd rather hang around in time and be a seeming separate person and a body. And of course, then I have to accept that, you know, I'm going to suffer pain and I'm going to die. Because that's how it goes here. So you're just saying, like, what he does quite a lot in these lessons, which I like, is he's asking questions.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of questions and statements. You know, shall I demand? And so it's getting you to start asking these questions. Shall I demand that you wait longer for your son to find the loveliness you planned to be the end of all his dreams and all his pain? So will I delay my salvation? Will I prolong my suffering? Or am I just going to accept the atonement now?
Would you think that it could be that you're asking that if I delay it, you'll still be there? Maybe could that be it? Shall I demand that you wait longer? Because it could take longer to do it.
The ego is, you know, delaying. The ego doesn't want to go back to oneness and find the loveliness that God planned and in the dream and in the pain. The ego doesn't want that. So the demand is, no, I want it my way. I want it to be separate. I want a separate identity. I want a separate reality. And if I demand that, then I will get that because my mind has power. If I choose that, then I will keep choosing separation in the dream rather than choosing atonement. So it's just another way of saying, well, choose. You know, are you going to demand that the separation be real, or are you going to accept the loveliness of the atonement, which is always the choice.
Thank you.
So it's a nice, it's a very powerful lesson. I mean, they all are, but
yeah, it is.
It's particularly appropriate for your situation, Hazel, because it's related to the past. And if you really say the past is over and it can't touch me, and you can really accept that, then you're free. You're free of any mental, emotional angst, pain, suffering that the past can cause you, because you just don't let it affect you.
Yeah, but it's brought forward, like with my son's attitude. He's bringing it forward all the time.
Yeah, but it's still the past. That's based on the past. And then your reaction to it, and this is what you've really got to watch, your reaction to it is based on your past. It's based on your past history, your experience, your past identity. And this is what the ego does. It goes, okay, well, there's the past showing up again, and now you're going to respond to it from that past perspective, the ego self, and all the pain that's involved there. And then you perpetuate that identity into the future. And that's how it keeps you bound in the ego, in time and space. And it just keeps replaying these dramas over and over and over again.
And keeps you away from love, yeah.
Where, and the only way is to go, okay, the past is over. There's no past. It's just, there's only present. This present moment awareness that I have is the only thing that's true. The past is an illusion. It's just a thought. And the emotions that go with it, it's just like cloud patterns blowing around in the mind. It's just obscuring the sunlight and the sky, which is present. It's always there. Just you've decided to go and obscure it with the past and the future. So it's very simple. You let go and you come into the present moment of that stillness and that quietness and that kind of open, expansive feeling that you could call love. You called it peace. It's the same thing, really. I mean, you can't really go, well, where does peace start and love stop and joy begin and happiness end? It's, they're just words. They're pointers to an underlying state of being that is permanent and eternal. And that's what he's taking. He's saying, look, that state is still there, but you've obscured it. Your mind has got all these illusions going on, and so you've got to let those go to find that state again where you can just rest in this absolute peace of being totally in the present moment, and there's no past, there's no future, and there's nothing else. It's just pure awareness. And forgiveness is the way you get there. So
should I feel guilty that I'm not working at my age?
Hazel, what do you think? I mean, come on. You've studied the course for how long?
Because
you can answer that question.
Today, is your father working? I wish I'd asked him myself. And he said yes. Well, he's not working now during lockdown, that's for sure. But anyway.
Who creates the guilt, Hazel?
No, I'll tell you why, because that's the only thing my son has any communication with me is every now and again he sends me an email saying this is how you make money and everything. But there's no, hello, Mom, how are you? Bye, it's your son, nothing. It just, I just know it's from him by the address, and this he keeps sending to me. I mean, in 3 years' time, I'll be 80. Does he expect me still to be working? I don't know.
Yeah, but then look at it again. So from your own point of view, if you've still got guilt about not working and that's an issue for you, then that's going to show up in your experience. So then your son sends you the email and that triggers your guilt. But if you had no guilt about it, you just go, well,
no, I didn't have any guilt.
Well, it sounds like it still pushes your buttons a bit. So
yeah.
And when you said, should I feel guilty?
What am I supposed to do? I don't know.
Should I feel guilty? Well, what you're supposed to do is to let go of the guilt in the past. That's your lesson.
No, I'm talking about the email he sends me now and again.
Well, just don't react. It's all about how you
reaction. Yeah,
so watch your reaction. When he sends you the next one, watch how it affects you.
I don't even open it anymore.
Okay, but do you have a reaction? Do you have an emotional reaction?
I used to, but not much.
Okay, well, notice. Go, okay, so that's happening. Let me just be present, breathe, and just notice, okay, so what's going on? And if you notice guilt arising, and you notice an emotional charge, and you're feeling a little bit defensive or angry, or whatever, let's push the button, because that's a symptom of the guilt. And you should never, I mean, the Course is very clear. It said guilt is not justified in any form. So you should never feel guilty about anything.
Well, I did work till I was 70. I mean, that's not everyone does that.
Hazel,
and that's because
it doesn't matter what
back.
the circumstances are. So this is what the
Hazel,
Course
yeah, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. It
doesn't matter what the circumstances in time and space are. You know, you work till you're 70, you work till you're 75. It doesn't matter, because the problem is the guilt. And the guilt is what wants you to keep re-experiencing. And it will create guilt for whatever reason. You know, if you'd work till 75, you could go, well, I'm not working now, so I'll feel guilty. You know, so
always really, your own story, Hazel. Yeah. It's nobody else's story.
Oh. And these triggers, you know, people in your life who, you know, push your buttons are just reflecting your own story back to you.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the way out. The genius of the Course is it's teaching you to look at the projections, and through this mechanism he calls forgiveness, or letting go of the emotions that it arouses in you. You undo the ego. So you use the very mechanism the ego's created to perpetuate itself, to undo it.
Well, I'm just going to remind you, Debbie, what you said to me once. And I thought, I wish I could believe this, that perhaps my son feels bad, he can't provide more for me. And perhaps he's trying to help me in that respect, that I can at least work for myself and provide more for myself. Do you remember saying that to me, Debbie?
I'm just trying to think, to say that again.
You once said that you thought that perhaps my son is doing this because he feels bad that he can't support me more than he is.
No, it could be. We don't know what he feels. You see, that we don't know. He could be feeling that. He could be feeling stressed because he's got his own family. He's got business problems. We don't know what his story is, but all we know is we know your story, and your story is rejection.
The key thing is to really look at it and go, okay, so how can I use this to undo my story? Yeah. It's not about him and what he's doing. That's
nothing to do with him. Yeah, nothing to do with him.
And it's hard because we want to, what the ego wants you to do is project into someone else's story. Oh, well, what are they doing and why are they doing that? Because then
why is he doing
you're
that?
not looking at yourself. So you're looking outside of yourself.
It was about a month ago. I sent my son a text saying, thank you so much for all the support you give me. My, what do they call it? My, the money they give me they alternate. The money you send me every second month, thank you very much, because I am able to provide the essentials in life. I just thanked him. I can't remember how I worded it. And not that I heard from him, but he got it.
Okay, well, so you thanked him.
You sent it with good energy?
Yes, but I didn't mention perhaps I didn't even think of it at the time, these odd emails showing me how to make money.
Just always remember.
In his own way, maybe it's going to help you, but you know, I'm not sure it is that helpful, because to make money online isn't just a snap of your fingers sort of thing. So it does require quite a lot of IT. You got to be pretty handy with computer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's his stuff, and it's your stuff if you react to it. So you know, you can only look at your own stuff, Hazel, nobody else.
Yeah.
And remember this lesson. It's a great pattern interrupt. The past is over. It can touch me not. It's a great, actually the past is over. So why am I going back into it and reliving it and perceiving things from my past perspectives because it's over. Even if it's showing up now, apparently, in a situation, remember, it's that the main way the past continues in your life is how you perceive things.
Yeah.
Because you've still got the past programs running.
And every time you run it, you're sorry, Donna, you're also rejecting yourself every single time you run the same story.
But you know, I had lovely memories of the past with him.
No, but the story is
Even,
now.
I even took he and his friend on holiday once, and I had to go to court to get money out of my ex to pay for, you know, to help me pay for his education.
It's still the past, Hazel. What this is saying
but your
is the past
reaction
is over. The entire thing is over. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it was, it doesn't exist. It never really existed because it was you were always looking nowhere and seeing but what is not there. And now you just relive that in your memory. And so it's just purely a memory. It's in your mind only. And then that creates all these emotions and drama. And it's actually insane. If you really look at it, it's like, but this doesn't even exist. This is just a thought going on in my mind. And then I gender all these emotions and I don't feel very nice. And it's like, it's a mental fiction going on in my mind. Do you see that? If you can really start to look at this.
Yeah, you've got to see it, Hazel. If you don't, you're going to keep being miserable for the rest of your life.
But I have to laugh at my ex saying, divorce is a bad thing for the children. And do I remember? He did everything. For God's sake.
It's your story again, Hazel. It's a story. Don't reject yourself with all your stories. You make yourself feel miserable. So what? Let it go. Forgive him. Make him innocent.
Well, it's actually looking at the whole thing and saying that's the story of this character called Hazel, and I actually have no attachment to it at all anymore. That's really what forgiveness is. It was a story, it played out. I thought at the time I was called Hazel and this was my life, and actually none of it was really real, and none of it actually has the power to affect me now. That's what this lesson is saying. Past is over, touch me not. Because right now, I am the Son of God. I am the extension of love, and that's all I am. And none of these illusions about myself and my life, and none of them can touch me. They're illusory. They're false. And so you just keep working at it. It's not an overnight process, but there we got to go.
I'm almost sorry that I've remembered about.
Are those angels' wings?
The angel, they're flapping me to bed. I've got to still wash the dishes. I've still got to wash.
Well, actually, we've gone till 10 to 9. So.
Don't feel sorry about anything, Hazel. Everything is meant to be. You haven't done anything wrong, but you just have to catch yourself from regurgitating your story and rejecting yourself all the time with the old stories all the time. I learned that.
I feel that I did my best for my son. The therapist of my kid. You spoiled him.
What's that?
She said I spoiled him.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's dropping the whole story. And I know it's not easy because the special relationships are, that's part of so much
the hardest, our
lives here, our ego identities. But you drop the whole story. What's left?
If someone had said this was going to happen a couple of years ago, well, more than a couple, I would have laughed at them. So what?
But Hazel, the thing is, Hazel, your son is giving you the opportunity to dig deep and see your patterns of rejection.
I've looked at it that way.
Yeah. It's the only thing he's doing.
That I think perhaps he did it on a soul level, that we did it.
Doesn't matter. He doesn't exist, remember. We don't know what his story is, but we're using it as a tool to grow now.
I think that's a very important point. Let's close on that. Is focus on how it helps you to do your own forgiveness. And find your way back to love. Because what someone else's story is and what their drama is, that's up to them to resolve. You can't resolve it. But you can do your own forgiveness. And in this sort of strange, mysterious way, when you do that, you're actually helping them in the best way that you can.
Yeah, you're helping them.
What?
You helping
Oh,
them.
them, yeah.
You really forgive. You really let go of any guilt, any resentment, anger, grievance, whatever. You really let that go because you connected to them on a mind level. There's only one mind. That's going to help them to
Freeze them. Yeah.
wake up as well. Help them to do their
Okay.
forgiveness.
All
And
right.
that's in fact the only way you can do it. You can't really help someone when you go, I'm going to pray for you. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
I'm going
That's
to
a
pray
good
for
point,
you. I'm
yeah.
going to pray for this. No, you do your forgiveness. You let go, and then you let God. So it's like once you've really let go,
Good point.
then what comes into that space that you've created is the Holy Spirit, is love, and that if you're in a relationship with a person, they cannot be unaffected by that because the mind is joined.
Oh,
So
that's
that's the
nice
best way of
too.
helping
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. No, sure.
I'll give you a practical thing of that. A friend of mine used to go out with a lady and they broke up and he hadn't seen her for like 20 years. They met 2 years ago again, had hi, friendly, happy cup of tea every now and then. And she phones him about 8 times a year just to chat about their old friends. And then she phoned one day and he said, and he knows she lives in a very small flat. And he said, and he thought, well, she's in a tiny flat. Maybe she'd like to nice big house, big garden. She might like to enjoy it. Would you like to come up to and come, in the afternoon? I'll make you some dinner. I'm not going to get back into a relationship with you, she says. Puts the phone down and he tries to send a message saying, no, I wasn't thinking about that. But then she'd blocked him.
Yeah.
He'd taken his note, so he couldn't send the message. He was shocked and he went into a whole lot of stuff. And then he finally lost his peacefulness. And then he did the clear, just whatever, dealt with the whole thing. And then she phoned him today to say, I'm really sorry for doing that. And he was absolutely peaceful. He just said, no problem at all, really. It's not a problem. And he truly meant it. Had he phoned her yesterday or this morning, she would have probably got an earful because he was still upset and hurt. But he cleared it out. And then she phoned when he'd cleared it out. So she was helped and he's at peace. That's how it works, Hazel. That's how it works.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's a little miracle. That's an example of a miracle. So it's a nice note to.
I was told today.
See how fast they're going now. They're trying to get me to bed.
Desperate for bed.
I was told today that my son, he is overwhelmed at the moment with his own stuff.
Exactly.
Whatever that means.
Exactly.
Whatever that means.
Probably the case for a lot of people. All the time.
Yeah, a lot of people are in a very bad way.
Overwhelmed by their own stuff, their own mind stuff, the ego. Obviously, now there's a little bit more pressure on some people because of the whole COVID-19 lockdown. So that just amplifies it.
I'm talking about the one overseas who apparently they've even gone on holiday this last weekend to Poland on a little, to Gdansk. So it's not as bad over there as it is here with the masks and God knows what.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're in, let me not say.
Yes, let's not be uncharitable.
No.
Okay, guys, thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you, Debbie. Sorry, I'm prolonging it.
No.
It was a very interesting discussion and very pertinent points, I think. So I hope it helped you. Shall we just do a minute's closing? Debbie
1
can
minute.
wait your bed. So just getting quiet, sitting still. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. Just breathing in love, breathing in gratitude. Feel that flowing into your heart center. It's for this great teaching we have, for the ability to connect with each other at a distance using this technology, for the Holy Spirit that's always there, just guiding us through whatever life presents and helping us to find our way back to the truth, the ever-present, in the ever-present moment. So just give thanks for that peace and that stillness that are always there, always available to you. Connect with that. Smile. Anchor that state in for the rest of the evening and on into the week ahead. Give thanks for the session. Give thanks for the people who are here to share in this Holy Communion, I guess you'd call it, in the pursuit of truth. So thank you for joining. Wish you a very peaceful evening and good sleep ahead.
Thank you, Jono.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Thank
Namaste.
you, Hazel.
Yeah,
So,
thanks. Namaste.
Yeah, sleep well. See you tomorrow, maybe. 1:30, maybe 1:30 tomorrow.
Should be back.
And then 6 p.m.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Sleep tight. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye.